Hello guys, my name is Faisal and welcome to Telex Academy. I'll be looking into JavaScript crash course and I'll be your instructor. So the first thing we need to understand is what is JavaScript and how to use it and what does it do. Now we could say this now. We said JavaScript is a high level dynamic programming language primarily used to create interactive and dynamic content on websites. It allows developers to implement complex features such as animation, form validation, content updates, and interactive maps on web pages. Now, look at it this way. You say, do you want to talk about JavaScript? Think of it about as functionality. We say we have HTML as the structure of a page, right? We also have CSS as this design of the page. Now, think about JavaScript as the third part needed, meaning as the functionality. Now, see, we have this first building indicating those implementing HTML. Now you can see a structure, right? This is just HTML. That's how the structure. That's what HTML is about. The structure. Then we have this other picture now indicating that we have designed it, meaning that we have added CSS, right? Now look at it. We're having windows, we're having doors, we're having garage and all. How do you think we were able to open the door, close the door, open the window, close the window and all? This is what with JavaScript. Now look at it. We said, imagine I have a TV at home. Now, me having the TV, now I have a remote control. With HTML and CSS, I could create that TV, right? And with HTML and CSS, I could also create the remote. But now, how come when I click on the remote, it actually turns the TV on and off? This is JavaScript. So let's see. Now, what do we use JavaScript? We use JavaScript in everyday life currently. One of the places we use it the most is for web development. So what do we use JavaScript for? We say we use JavaScript to create interactive websites. Why? By adding dynamic content like slides, forms, and modals. We also use JavaScript to build single page applications such as React, Vue, Angular. These guys are kind of application whereby you don't need to reload before the content of the page actually changes. So we also have the backend development side of JavaScript whereby we use Node.js to create efficient server-side application and an API. We also use JavaScript to create microservices to develop modular services that work independently. Now we also use JavaScript for mobile and desktop application. So in the sense that when we say hybrid mobile apps such as let's say I'm creating a game app or something, I could actually use React Native. I could say let's say a CBT app, let's say an exam app. Now I could actually use React Native. So JavaScript is vast. You can use it for web, you can also use it for mobile. Now you can also use JavaScript to create desktop application using Electron. An example of a desktop application you can create is Slack. Okay. Now you can also use JavaScript for game development. So you can use create browser games to develop 2D, 3D games using libraries like Partial. Now, so before we proceed now, I believe every one of us have our ID, our integrated development environment for writing code. Now, preferably I'll prefer Visual Studio Code, VS Code. So let's go to download it. So so I'm saying this now. Let's say Visual Studio Code. Now I already have mine installed already, so depending on you, so you can click on download. Now depending on the environment you're actually using. So I'm using Windows, there's also Linux, there's also Mac, right? Now because my environment I'm running on is Windows, so I just download Windows. Now if you are using Linux, do the same. Then if you are using Mac, you can also do the same. So let's go back. So now coming next, now the next thing I want to do now after installing and all, now the thing that happens is that it creates it. Once it installs, it opens this way for you, right? So it opens this way. Now one of the first thing I want to do now is to do this. I actually need to come to our desktop area here. You can actually create it anyway, but I don't know, preferably for me is here. So I could just create a folder and let's name it JavaScript crash course. Now you could name it this way, right? So we're in. Now the next thing for us to do now, you just come to your VS Code and say this. You just say open folder, right? So when you say open folder, it shows you different folder, but exactly what we need is our desktop. So just come to desktop. There, my desktop. So I have desktop. I saw my desktop showing different folder, but what I need is JavaScript crash course. Now I'm into this guy already. Now as you can see, my folder is actually what, empty. Now let's begin. Now for JavaScript now, there are two main ways we do it. Either by writing the internal or what, external JavaScript. Now for the internal JavaScript now, it's normally written inside what, our HTML file, whereas the external JavaScript is normally written outside the HTML file and it's saved with what, .js. Now if you're using the internal JavaScript now, you say what, script, and inside the script tag is where you write your JavaScript code. Whereas if you are using the external JavaScript now, you say what, script, then inside you say what, in between you say src equal to like the source of the JavaScript you're trying to like JavaScript file you're trying to like link it to. Just like we are doing CSS now, you say links, rel, style sheet, then href, the name of the file. Now let's begin. So we said here, we said a variable. The first thing we're looking into now is variables. Now what's a variable? Said a variable in JavaScript is like a container that holds a value which can be used and manipulated throughout your code. Think of it as a label you attach to what, a piece of data, so you can easily what, refer to it later. Now you can just think of a variable as like a container in which you use in storing data temporarily. Now imagine I have a bottle of water. Now when there's something inside now, it means I've actually stored something inside that bottle. But imagine it's empty now. This guy is also what, a variable. Now look at it this way. We said we have different ways. We have like a variable with initialization, and we also have a variable without initialization. Now a variable with initialization is when I say I have that bottle of water. Now there's water inside actually. That's actually variable with what, with initialization. Now the other one we have now, you said, is what, the variable without initialization, just like having that plastic, but now without any content. That's how that other guy works. Now let's actually see how we declare variables. So we say to declare a variable now, you use the what, let, const, or what, or var keyword. Now when we say let, now you say let is used for variables that can what, change, meaning that what, they are reassignable. But now when we say const, now const is for variables that shouldn't what, they shouldn't change. And when we say var is another way for what, declaring variable generally replaced by what, let and const, because let and const were actually introduced in 2015. So it's var is more like the ancient or older way people have been actually using for JavaScript. So let's try this guy out and see how this guy is. So like when we say let now, we said is used for variables that can change, meaning they are what, reasonable, meaning I can declare here, then at the point I can actually change the content that is inside. Now the const now, it means for variable that the content should not change, always mean what, constant. Now let's see how this guy works. Now it will say this. Now let's say we're creating this file. Let's say okay, index.html, I created this file already. Now I'm having my script tag. Now the first thing I want to do now is what, I'm saying let a equals what, 10. Now if I say this console.log, this guy is an inbuilt function in JavaScript, the console.log. So if I say console.log a, it shows me what is inside what, a. Now to run it now, let's just say this. So right click, then open with live server. Let's see. Now we're having this guy this way. Now to see what's inside it, will say, you can say Control Shift and I, or if you're not able to do that, you can just say this to check your console. Right click, then under you see something like what, inspect. It opens the developer tool for you on your browser. Now you click on console. Now as you can see, I'm having what, 10 as what, as my answer here. Now if I'm saying this now, let's say a is equal to what, 20, meaning what, I'm reassigning 20 as for what, for a. Now if I come back in now, at the same time now I reload, what do you see? We're having what, 20. But now whereas if I do something like this, let a equal to 20, now you can see it's flagging error. Why? Because you cannot declare that variable. You can actually what, only reassign the variable rather than what, redeclaring it. That's for the let. Now imagine I was using something like var. If I say var a equal to 10, right? I'm saying here also, let me first comment this guy out. So I'm saying this. Now reload, we're having what, 10, right? Now imagine I'm saying this. A is equal to 10 also. A equal to 20, right? This guy is still working, right? It has reassigns it as also 20. Now if I now say this, var a equals to 20, you can see it's not actually giving me an error, right? It's actually what, allowing me to what, reassign and what, redeclare that variable itself. Now if I come back here now to check the output, now we'll be having this as what, as 20. This is how let var work. Now we're talking about const. Now it means the value is meant to be constant. So we'll say, So we could be having this, let's say const now. Imagine I was saying const a as 10. Okay, then I'll say this. I'm now reassigning that a as what? As 20 here. Let me first do this. So I'm calling out const a as what? As 10. So if I come back here now, we're having, okay, 10, right? We're having 10 here. Now if I do this, let's say I'm saying I'm reassigning a as what? As 20 this time around now. So coming back here now, and I actually refresh, what do you see? It's telling me this uncaught type error, assignment to what? Constant variable. It means it's not, you cannot reassign a value to it. At the same time, you cannot what? Declare that variable. So now if I come here now and say const a, you can see it's already flagging me an error that it's not possible for me to do this kind of thing. So now when you use const now, it means that what? That value will always remain what? Constant. But when you use let, it means let, you can actually reassign the value of that what? Of that variable. But you cannot what? Redeclare that redeclare the variable. But for var now, var you can actually reassign, and you can actually what? Redeclare the variable also. So let's move back to what we now. We said the next part we're having is variable names. How do you name variables? You can say, you can name your variable almost what? Anything you want, but they must start with what? Either a letter, a underscore, or a dollar sign. Now they are also case sensitive in the sense that, imagine me writing let age equal to 10, then I'm saying console.log capital letter age. These are like two different things. Did you get me? So now I'm saying, so when I say let age equal to like 10, I have to come to console.log and also say exactly what I wrote, meaning like small letter age. If I'm using capital letter age now, it means I must also say what? Capital letter what? Age, for there not to be what? Mistakes. Now how do we assign variable? Say you can assign a value to a variable when they decide to what? Declare it or do it later. As I said, we have a variable with initialization and a variable what? Without initialization. Let's come back to our code. Now this is a variable with, this is it. Now imagine this. Now let's cancel this guy. Let's comment it out. So imagine saying this, let a, then I do it this way. This is a variable without what? Initialization. I just add that container, right? But now it's empty, just like I said, like a bottle of water, but it's empty. Now if I say this, let's, remember I cannot really declare it. I'll say a is equal to what? Now I'll say a is equal to, like, let's say water, right? Now if I say console.log a, now we'll be seeing what? Water for a, what? For a. Let's go back to our output. So we're seeing what? Water as what? As the output here. Now the same way, this are we what? This is a variable. This first one now is a variable with what? Without initialization. Now this is a variable with what? With initialization. Now the same way, I could actually still do the same thing here when I say let a equal to water. Doesn't make sense. This is just a normal way of declaring the variable. But what if you just want to declare a variable down, but you're not actually putting anything, you're not actually assigning anything into it? That's when you just do this way. So now we are good. So let's say, going back to our slide. Now the next thing we'll look into now is data types in JavaScript. Now in JavaScript, data types define the kind of values you can work with in your programs. Now understanding these types is essential for writing effective and what? Bug-free code. JavaScript has several built-in data types which can be categorized into primitive types and what? Non-primitive type. Now let's look at these guys one by one. When we talk about primitive data types, the first one that comes there is what? Numbers. Like when we talk about number, representing what? Both integer and what? Floating point values, like decimals. This one that's what we talk about, like for floating points. Then we have special values for these numbers. It has things like infinity, it has negative infinity, it has NaN, which stands for not a number. Is used when a mathematical operation what fails, e.g. yeah, you're saying this passing. Yeah, this passing is like an inbuilt function in JavaScript. Now it's actually meant to collect only numbers, but now you're actually adding a string in it. So this automatically now comes out like not a number. It's not actually what? A number. So the next one after numbers, we have what? String. Now this is where I use in doing when I wrote two quotes and wrote what I need. Now we have this. So the string represents sequence of what? Characters used for what? Used for text. An example, we say what? Look at the first one. We have let greeting equal to what? Hello world. You can see there I'm using what? A double quote. I see that you're using a double quote or you're using what, a single quote. Now you can see the other one say let single quote equal to what, JavaScript, right? Now the last one now is the template literal. Now this one is different. I can see instead of quote, we actually use what, back tips here. Now I'm writing my text, but now I'm now calling a variable into that certain text for myself. Now I'm saying my age is, now I already have this age declared somewhere already. I could say age is equal to like 10 or something. So when I say my age is now dollar sign curly brace, it means I'm calling that certain variable into what, into this text I'm trying to like create. Let's try it out for ourselves. So we could say this. Now let's say commenting this one out. So we could actually have this. Let's say let greeting equal to what, I'll say hello world. No difference if you're using like a single quote or a double quote, there's no difference. So let's sing equal to mocking bird, right? So now I'm just having this random, guys. So I could say this, let's say console.log. I could say greeting, right? Then I could say console.log as single here also. Now I'm just calling out this variable, so automatically now it's just bringing words inside the variable for me. Now if I load this page now, we'll be having this guy this way. So we'll be saying hello world, and we also have what, mockingbird. Now if we come back here, so the last one, the template literal now. So let's say I'm saying this, let age equal to, now let's say let age equal to 20, right? So I'm having this let r or anything you want to name it. Let's say let main equal to this. Now I'm saying back tips, right? Now I'm saying I am, now I could just put what, the dollar sign, then I'm having what, the age variable in it. Now I can see this, my age now is letting me know it's a number inside. Now I'm saying what, I am years old, and automatically now it's telling me what, I am 20 years old. How? Because the 20 is what is being stored into age, and I'm calling out what, the age variable here. Now if we run this guy now, we're having this way. You can see we're having what, let's reload. Sorry, we haven't added it. So I could say console.log of main this way. So now you can see now we're having what, I am what, 20 years old. Now what if I don't want to use this? I could actually use something else. I could use this string concatenation. Now this guy works just like this one, but actually different. Now you can say this. I could say let cat equal to this. My name is Faisal. Now instead of me using this guy here, now I'll be saying this plus, yeah. Now I'm saying plus space, then I'm saying age, right? And I'm giving another space here. So I'm saying, sorry. So I'm having this guy. So before this age, I should have another plus. Then I'm saying plus. Now, many text I could say yes, old. Okay, let's make it short. I'll say for the value is so. Now if we run this code now, we're having this guy this way. Okay, sorry. So let's say console.log of what, concat. Abby. Now if we run this code, we'll be having this guy this way. So you're saying what, hello world, mockingbird, I am 20 years old. That's the literal. Now we're having this guy, this string concatenation here as what, Faisal, 20 years old. Now this is how this guy works actually. So now let's come back to our slide and see where we'll continue. Now we already have a full understanding of how the string and number works. Now the third one we have is what? The boolean, meaning what? True or false. It represents logical values, either what? True or what? Or false. Then we have the undefined, in case that a variable has been declared but not what? Yet assigned a what? A value. You also have the null, represent the intentional absence of what? Of any objects. Now that's all about the primitive data types. Now under the non-primitive, now we have things like objects, we have array, we have functions, we have what? Dates. Now these dates just used in representing date and time. Then we have the function, a block of code designed to perform what? A particular task, and it can be treated as a what? A first class or what? Object in what? In JavaScript. Now we also have array. We said array, a type of object used to what? Store ordered collection of items and elements. So we also have description. The object we said is used to store collections of data and more complex entities. Objects can contain properties, key value pairs, and method, that is function. Now we'll actually look into object, array, and function as a topic later on. So we also have this regex. Now this regex, now example of place where we use is like on a website whereby they're asking you to like create a password. Now they want your password to be secure. They ask you to like use a capital letter, use a small letter, use special characters, and it must be up to like 8 or something, or let's say up to 10. It must not be less than 10. Now how do they check it? Using this regex. Now this represents what? Regular expression used for what? Pattern matching within what? Within strings. Now we also have the map and set. The map stores key value pairs where keys can be of any type, while the set what? Stores unique values, preventing what? Duplicates. Now the last thing under the non-primitive data type now is the type of operator. Now what do you use it for? You use to check the type of variable, the type of data inside what? The variable itself. Now there's an example here. We're saying this console.log type of 42. Automatically it knows this guy is a what? Is a number. Now saying type of what? Hello. Automatically it's telling us is what? Is a string. Why? Because you're saying this quote. It can be single, it can be double. You get me? You can also have you're also having this type of what? Of true. This is what? A boolean, meaning we said boolean is what? True or what? Or false. You're also having type of what? Undefined as what? Undefined. Remember, like that does not until has been assigned to it. Then we have this null that is saying what? The object that is known. This is a known quirk in what? In JavaScript. Now we also have the this, when time you see this kind of bracket, it means an object. So as in type of this now is what? It's an object. So this is where we end our introduction to JavaScript. So the next part we'll be looking into operators and expressions. So welcome back, guys. So under these operators and expressions, we'll be having this. I would say the first type of operator we'll be looking into now is the arithmetic operator. Now these are like basic operators we already know, like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and this last one is modulus. Now you know what addition does, you know what subtraction is, you know what multiplication is. The same thing is what everyone this guy does. So now we could just say the next part we have is the basic assignment operator. So now this guy, the first one you're seeing now, we say this is equal to, right? But in JavaScript this is not equal to. This is what? This is an assignment operator. Now what does it do? It assigns the value on the right to the what? To the variable on the what? On the left. While this plus equal to, we're saying what? Addition assignment. Now it adds the right operand to the what? To the left operand, and assigns the result of the what? And assigns the result to the left operand. So the same thing continuously. So we're having like subtraction assignment, multiplication assignment, division assignment. Let's try this guy out. So I feel let's create a new file for that. So we can say operators dot html, right? So yeah, now we're saying this script, right? Now I could say let a equal to what? 10. Abi? Now I'm assigning what? 10 into, I'm assigning 10 for what? For a. And I'm saying let's b equal to what? 20, like a simple calculator. And I could say console.log right? A plus b, right? Now if we run this code now, we'll be having this guy this way. So remember, right click and say what? Inspect, or you could say Control Shift and what? And I. Now we're having our console. Now as you can see, now I'm having what? 30 here. Now the same way I could just say, if I don't want to use plus here, I could say what? Minus. So I'm also having what? The same thing. Now we want to use modulus exactly what the same way. Now, so depending on what you're trying to actually what achieve. Now, we said we have different data, different assignment operators. Now we have seen this one as a normal assignment operator, right? Now let's say this. I'm moving this, so I'm moving this guy also. So let's say this. Imagine I'm saying a plus equal to 40. This means I'm reassigning what 40 as what as a. So you're actually going to add both together. So if I'm saying this now, let's run this code to see. Now you can see actually tell me what 50. Then if I just do a equal to 40, it's giving the new value of a as what as 40. But whereas if I do this a plus equal to what 40, it's actually bringing what a as before, right? Which is what 10. Then I'm adding what 40 to what to that 10. That's what this guy does, and that's why we're having what 50 here. Let's reload. So that's why we're having what 50 here. Now the same thing. Now if I come back here and say let's say a minus 40. Now if I come back here, we'll be having this guy this way, minus 30. Now, so let's come back and continue what you're trying to achieve. So you understand this part where I'm saying like this addition assignment, subtraction assignment, multiply assignment, and the rest of it. So let's go back to our slide. So the next part we'll be having now is the comparison operators. Now this is what we call equal to in JavaScript. This is equal to, this is also equal to. So we have this one as what? The loose equal to, the loose equality. Why this as what? The strict equality. Now we say what? This guy compares two values for what? Equality after converting both to a what? A common type. Now we say this one, the strict equality now compares two values of what? For equality without what? Without data type conversion, preferred for what? Accuracy. Now let me show you what all this means. Now if we come back to our code, we'll be having. Now imagine I'm saying this. Let's comment this guy out, right? So now I'm saying here, let a equal to, okay, let me do this. Let me just say console.log 5. 5 is a number, right? Is equal to what? 5. This is a number and this is what? A string. Now when you're using this equal to, now it converts this guy and try to check like if it's the same thing. It also like does the same. Let's say like now it checks this 5 as a number. I convert it. Now does this guy still give 5, right? Now if I run this code now, let's see what we're going to have. Sorry. So if I run this code now, we'll be having this guy this way. As you can see, what we're having here, we're having what? True, right? Meaning that what 5 is what equal to what 5. Now imagine I'm doing this. Instead of saying just this double, I'm saying triple equal to. Now if I run this code now, we'll be having this guy this way, saying what? False. Meaning now it's first convert it. This triple now, it doesn't actually convert it. You just make sure that both are what? The same data type. Now if I come back here now and say this now, let's say instead of this I'm saying strings like 5. It compares that they are string, that both of them are actually what? Are actually string. At the same time, now compare that both of them have what? The same content. Now if you come back here now and I refresh now, you can see we're having what? True rather than false here. This is how the equality operator works. Now the other part we have now, we have the inequality, which is what? This, when you say anytime you see this exclamation mark, it means not. So I'm saying like not equal to. It compares two values for inequality after converting both to what is a common type. This is the loose inequality. Then when you say the strict inequality now is like not equal to compares what? Two values for inequality without what? Data type conversion. Now we also have the greater than, we have the less than, we have the greater than equal to, we also have what? The less than, depending on how you want to check. Sometimes I want to check like is A greater than B, or is B greater than A, or is B less than A, the same way. So sometimes I want to say like is A greater than or equal to. So that's when you say greater than, then you add the equal to sign also. Then you can say less than, you can say the less than sign, then equal to, just check if let's say A is less than or equal to what? B. Now the next one we have is the logical operator, the and, or, and what, and not. Represent and with this saying what? The and returns true if both operands are what? Are true, meaning the left and right. I would say if A is equal to like let's say 10, A is equal to like 10, I'm saying B is equal to like 10 also. I'm saying A and B, it means both of them must actually what be 10 and what and 10 before it can what return what true. If I'm saying or, mean if A is like 10 and B is like 20, one of them is still what's going to run. Why? Because the or now returns true if at least one of the operand is what is true. Now the not, remember I said the exclamation mark stands for what? Not. It returns the opposite boolean value of what? Of the operand. So next we'll be looking into control structures. Thank you.